What's up, my Yugi Bros? I'm your host, the one, the only, the RJB0. Welcome to Casual Saturday. I apologize for keeping a poor rein on the Casual Friday schedule. I've been super busy for the last few weeks, and my schedule has been very hectic, and that's why I've been having trouble. But last night, I actually had a Casual Friday video planned with something very, very special, but the shipping got screwed up, so I didn't receive the item that I am opening for you until today, and that very special item is a box of Duelist Alliance. I'm going to be opening that for you guys today, but first you have to get through me doing some Q&A, and of course talking about the soda that I am drinking today, which is just plain old club soda. Nothing particularly exciting. I think it was Canada Dry Club Soda. I like it because it's, once again, hot, and sugar and hot don't go well together. Also, I have a convention coming up, and I want to keep in shape for a cosplay that I'm going to be doing. Yeah, I'm that much of a geek. Let's get down to the Q&A. We start off with Slate Warrior. Slate Warrior says, I'm going to be going to my first event ever next month, that being Philadelphia Regionals. I've never been to a locals before. Any advice or suggestions? Go to locals. That's my advice to you, because you can have played on Dueling Network and DevPro all you want, and you can know the game inside and out, but actually playing with another person across the table from you who has equal stakes in what you're doing is totally different. There's a completely different factor to actually being in the moment and playing against another person. I know that I do better on Dueling Network because I have an easier time keeping my cool and everything is nice and organized, and I'm not seeing another player shuffling their hand and stuff. It's a lot less distracting. When you're in real life, there are just a ton of other distractions, so you really should go to locals a few times before you go to your regionals. I'm not saying that you can't do at all well if you do not go to a locals before you go to a regionals, but it's just really a good idea. I got a couple of questions talking about Burning Abyss. The one that I'm going to address is from Ethan Barrasso, just because he was the first one to ask it. He says, no one is talking about Burning Abyss in the next set. They are one of the better decks to come along in a while, but they are very under the radar. What do you think about them? I think Burning Abyss could be good. I think that they have the potential to be a really good deck. Why? Well, because I have my rule that if a deck focuses around monster effects which activate in the graveyard, they're going to be top tier at some point or another. As of right now, the problem that I have with Burning Abyss is that it produces a lot of fake advantage. When I say fake advantage, I mean it's a bunch of cards available to you that you can't do anything with. Because here's the thing, while you are trying to use the Burning Abyss combo, you cannot use any monsters besides Burning Abyss monsters and Tour Guide, and I suppose Crane, but you can't summon any Xyz monsters except Burning Abyss monsters if you want to continue to get Burning Abyss effects, because they destroy themselves if you have a monster other than a Burning Abyss monster on the field. So if you were to summon like a Leviair or something, you couldn't make Graph or Seer plays because they just summon a monster from the grave or from the deck and then they just get destroyed. At this point you can do that because you can summon Skarm and then Skarm will get a Tour Guide search during the end phase, which is good, but as it is, really Tour Guide is your only option, and the only power plays that the deck has available to it have to do with Rank Up Magic Astral Force, which is a fairly inconsistent card to get. Yes, you can mill it and then use your draw phase to add it to your hand, but then you can't special summon during that turn except by its effect, so it slows you down a ton. So with the power plays being as weak as they are for the deck right now, and the fact that you absolutely have to just use Burning Abyss cards if you want to extend your combos at all, I think that the deck right now is not as good as it could be, but once again, it does have the potential because it focuses around monster effects which activate in the graveyard, which always do well. From Infinite Pez, would you do a segment of deck doctoring similar to No Limit Gaming? I used to do that. I used to do a segment that I think I called, Deck Workshops, where I would workshop subscribers' decks. However, they weren't really very popular, and I didn't find that the subscribers were getting as much out of it as I would have liked them to have done for how much time the videos usually took and how long the videos themselves actually were. So I've done it before. I don't think I'm going to do it again unless there is just a huge amount of demand for it. From M. Greenfield, if Konami let you design your own archetype, what would you make? How would it work mechanically? And what do you think the lore would be themed on? I actually have a video talking about how Konami could make a burn deck that is both competitive and non-degenerate, and it's based on an archetype that I think I called Winter Terrors or something like that I thought was super cool. It's a bunch of water, like Pyro and Psychic types, who all share the effect this card cannot deal battle damage. The other effects on those cards are fairly standard, like decent monster effects that do pretty generic things, but then add on a degree of burn damage. For instance, there was a 1900 Flamvel Fire Dog that when it ran over an opponent's monster, dealt damage to the opponent equal to that monster's level times like 200 or 300, and then it would summon another monster of the archetype to the field from your deck. I thought that was super cool, since it adds a really heavy burn engine to a deck that has a lot of decent plays. So I might do a little more with that archetype, and I will link that video in the description below. So that's what I would do. From Mark G. Now this is actually a question I've been considering really carefully. He says, what do you think about splitting Yu-Gi-Oh! Play up for a casual / budget / fun decks versus competitive players? It could be done with implementing an official tier rating or base it on COSI rankings. I really enjoy playing budget and fun decks, but going to locals and getting stomped on all the time by tier 1 decks isn't very fun, and playing against your friends and family all the time gets predictable. It's an interesting concept to split the game into actual competitive and casual play, but I have a couple of issues with it, most of which surround the process of rating people and decks to split this up. Tier ratings are super subjective. In order for it to be objective at all, you have to base it on how many times that deck has topped, at what events, and in what place. So you'd have to weight a YCS higher than a regional, I guess, and a regional higher than a local, and then the first place gets a certain number of points, whereas the second place gets a certain number of points, and then they'd have to keep really good track of a deck, and plus it's very difficult to define a deck. There are massive numbers of variants on singular archetypes. So are you going to base it on one archetype, or are you going to base it on one variant? I just have an issue with the idea of having an official tier ranking because it's just so subjective. The COSI rankings is an idea, however, keep in mind that any new player is always going to start lower, even if they are experienced on Dueling Network or something, or if somebody loses their COSI card or something like that and has to get a new number, they have to start off at the bottom. And it also makes this interesting barrier for a beginner player to get into competitive play, because until they become one of the best in COSI rankings, in the lower half of COSI rankings, then they can't play against better players. And if a better player wants to play against the lower players, they can't. So I just can't find a way to split up Yu-Gi-Oh! For competitive and casual that would really work for the game. That's why I talk about business casual Yu-Gi-Oh! So much, which is where you find the decks that you enjoy, the kinds of decks that you enjoy specifically, and you play those. And you try to make decks that you really like competitive, and if you can't, you move on to another deck. And you realize that there will always be decks that are better than other decks in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And then in order to be creative, you have to be a really good player. So that's kind of my response to that. Let's see, moving on to Svetomir Shiv, whose name I feel like was specifically put there so that I would have to try and pronounce it. It says, completely out of topic, but tits or ass? The answer is yes. Yes. Tits or ass, yes. Let's move on to Bodazifa Bignell, who says, will you ever try to make Galaxy Photon again? I do have that review coming up. I know I've been promising a recap on my Galaxy Photon review for a long time, but it's actually coming this next week. I've been testing a lot, and it's been interesting. You'll see the results when that video comes. We have from Duncan Harbison, what do you think about mixing Traptrix with Hunders to give more strong openings that don't require drawing Thunder Seahorse? I've actually thought about it a lot, and I am considering playing a deck like that this format, depending on how well I can make the deck work against Shadows, because the problem with Hunders is that they go for the extra deck basically all the time. Even in the Montreal Theory version of the deck, you have to go to the extra deck sometimes, and once you do that, you've basically lost against Shadows, unless you have some way of stopping their plays, which the Hunter deck doesn't have an Xyz monster that can do that, or a Synchro monster that can do that. You can use the Montreal Theory to go for the Vanity's Emptiness Spark Dragon play, but that's less consistent against Shadows, and I really need it to be in order for that version to work. Can you do a video elaborating on why you think Apoqliphort Killer is not as good as people think it is. Now, don't get me wrong. Apoqliphort Killer is great. I'm not saying that it's worse than anybody think it is. I just don't think it's the part of the deck that you have to worry about. The part of the deck that you have to worry about is the fact that they can put 3 2,000 or more attack point monsters on the board at the same time with Skill Drain and with Vanity's Emptiness. And if those things get destroyed, they go to the extra deck, and then you can just pendulum summon them back. I think the thing about that deck that we have to worry about is its OTK ability and the fact that it can create that OTK ability with a stun backup strategy, a really powerful stun backup strategy, and that's a scary combination. Finally, from Lan Mater or Lan Matter or Lan Mater, do you enjoy roller coasters? If so, what is the best roller coaster you have been on? I don't go to amusement parks very much, so I haven't been on a lot of roller coasters. The one roller coaster I really remember enjoying was at Lake Compounce in Connecticut. It was the Boulder Dash. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that roller coaster. So that's my Q&A. Remember that if you want me to answer any questions for you, this is a great time to do it. Ask me in the comment section below, and I will get to it during the next Casual Friday video. Meanwhile, y'all have earned it. Let's get down to opening my box of Duelist Alliance. Die, Konami Seal. Alright, let's get down to it. I love box opening. Let's get started with the first pack. I make a lot of turkey noises. Alright, we have Recover. We have Cloud Castle, the subject of one of the most obnoxious Infernity loops ever created. Check out Yugioh Organization's page to see what I'm talking about. We have Super Heavy Samurai. We have Satellanite. I don't know what that's called anymore. We have Flash Knight, and we do not have a holo in this pack. We have a Performapal instead. We have the Djinn Demolisher of Rituals, and we have Pilgrim Reaper, and finally we have Exchange of Day and Night, or Night and Day. Let's move on to the second pack. So we have one of the Melodious Divas. I'm not too fond of this deck, even though people keep telling me to try and run it. Whatever. Okay, moving on. A little less commentary. We've got Recover. We've got Battery Man 9-Volt. Ooh, I needed one of those. We've got another... We've got a Toad, and for our not first holo, we have a Hippo. And then we have DUEA Stadium. We have Wightprince, which I actually vaguely remember this card being pretty good. I'll have to look at it later and tell you guys in the description whether it actually turned out to be as good as I thought it would be. Speeding myself up a little. We have a Lance. We have a, what the nuts is that? Satellanite Alpha. Satellanite Alpha. We have a Performapal. We have a Hippo Carnival. And Dogo. And Focalt's Cannon is our first super rare. That's a pretty cool looking card. I think pendulum monsters are basically the most beautiful thing ever created by Konami. I realize that I've said that about a couple of other things, but the art is just beautiful on these things. The cards are just really nicely designed. We've got a Yangzing Common. We have Hymn of Light for that Saphira play. And let's move on to pack numero 3. More 9-Volt. I need that card. We have more Satellanite. We have, what the nuts does that say? Drag Ascension. We have a Satellanova Wave. We have a UA Perfect Ass. And we have a Gaia and I've been trolled by the darn Pilgrim Reaper. Satellanite thing. We have a Performapal. And another Hippo Carnival. And we have another, I will try to keep the glare off of this. We have a Chained Spell. We have Skarm, not bad. I haven't seen a lot of those get opened. Oh, and we get Dante. Very pretty card. This card is something that a lot of people I know are looking for, so it's a decent secret rare. We have Vega, and we have Fishborg Doctor, and a Gaia thing. I just messed everything up. Everything is ruined. Satellanite Alpha. Look at that card. And we have this card. We have the other Gaia. We have another Melodious Diva. We have a Recover. We have another Burning Abyss. This is like a Burning Abyss box already. We have a common Yangzing. We have Super Heavy Samurai. We have another Vega. And we have a Fishborg Doctor. Pop-Up. These are things that I not like getting when I'm on the internet. I totally ruined that joke. Let's move on to the what the nuts is that? Battle Guard King? Never seen that before. I'll have to read it. We have the Worm-Armed Dragon. another artifact, Longinus. A rare is something I have never seen in my life before. Face off. On a spell or trap card or monster effect is activated during the damage step, negate the activation if you do destroy it. Not bad, not bad. Nice counter trap right there. And we have, oh no, it's Hypno Sister. Oh no, this is not the card I wanted as a super. Oh well. We have a Shadow Hedgehog, we've got Yang Zing Common Trap card, and we have another super heavyweight samurai. We have a Hippo Carnival. So much hippo. We have, a Shadow Lizard. We have more of this. We have more of this. We have that. What's that? I don't know what that is. It is not a hollow. It is Mozarta, the Melodious Maestra. We have the Jinn. We have whatever the heck she is. It's another Melodious Diva. And we have more common cards. Let's move on. Performa Pals. More Performa Pals. We have a Gigantic Castle. Are you guys seeing that all right? I'm going to cut like, there you go. Okay, that's good. We have Uranus. We have the Armed Dragon, Flash Knight, and another common. We are not doing so hot, ladies and gentlemen. This is not the best box in the world so far. Not one Ultra has been encountered, even though I've gone through a substantial number of packs. Ultras are basically the best cards in this set. Honestly, the secrets are pretty great, but the Ultras are just really freaking amazing. We have a Cloud Castle. We have a Dirac Ascension. We have a Chain Dispel. A Shadow Dragon, and still no hollows. My goodness, we are not doing so hot, ladies and gentlemen. We have another pack. Starting out with a super heavyweight. We have Pop-Ups. Chaos Seed, this is a pretty good card. Another Face-Off, and a Satellarknight Den-Up. Not a bad pull. Like I said, the Ultras are the things you really want out of this set, and Satellarknight Den-Up is a pretty decent Ultra, and here are the rest of the cards out of that pack. We have a Dirac Ascension, Chain Dispel, Hippo Carnival, Shadow Squamata, Shadow Falco, not bad, and a Chi Wen. 2 Ultras in a row. Not bad ones either. I was kind of hoping that my Ultras out of this box would be Shadow monsters, but you know what? That's okay. You can't win everything. Hey, it's more spell cards, trap cards, monster cards, a rare card, and not a hollow card. I'm like super picking up the pace here. One of these times I will learn how to actually open a pack, and on that day, my videos will get so much shorter. Spicy Spy. You get it because she's spicy, because she's hot, and she's holding spicy food. Alright, Uranus. We have Satellarknight Wave. We have Satellarknight's Sky Bridge, and a Bixie Water Yang Zing monster, DUEA Stadium, and some other cards that are totally inconsequential. And we open the pack, like a book. There we go. Alright, Shadow Squamata shows up. We have a Satellarknight Alpha. We have more stuff. UA Perfect Ass, and no hollow. Man, I am struggling for hollows in this box. We have a Uranus, and we have a Wave, and we have a Battle King Guard, and we have a Cloud Castle, we have Breaker the Imposter Warrior, and still not a hollow. My goodness. Come on. We have a card that is only going to be used in OTKs and FTKs. We have Metaphysical What's-His-Futs. We have the Gaia Dragon Knight. We have, not Dragon Knight, the Black Knight. Shadow Squamata. We have Performa Pals, and still no hollows. Still struggling to open packs like a real human being. Alright, we have the Worm-Armed Dragon, Chaos Seed. Performa Pal, What's-His-Futs, 9-Volt, not bad. This is actually a really good card. I kind of wish that it would come out as an Ultra, because I think it should look cool as an Ultra, but I'm glad that we have it as a rare, because it's a really good card, and I want to be able to have it. Still no hollows. My goodness gracious me. We used up all our luck in the very first few packs. Isn't it weird when a Yu-Gi-Tuber refers to, like, the Royal We? Like, you guys are getting some of these cards as well? Like, We are opening so well, us collectively as a channel. Another 9-volt, I think I have enough now. Spy, C, Spy, we have Dogu, and another Yangzing super. Not bad, the Yangzings are decent supers. Not Shadow Fusion, but that, you know, I can't complain. Maybe I can get a Ghost, or an Ultimate, or another Recover, or another thing that's only going to be used in OTKs and FTKs. We have another Worm-Armed Dragon, another Gaia Black Knight. We have, I think I just got every single monster out of the Burning Abyss archetype. And still not a holo. More turkey noises ensue. And nothing! My goodness. All the Performapal toads. Let me tell you, those are Performapals. They are performing tonight. Unlike my ability to pull holos. Or open up packs. Alright, we have this stuff. And this stuff. And this stuff. And this stuff. And not any more stuff. Ooh, the Monarch Stormforth. That's actually the first one I've gotten out of maybe it's like the second one. Alright, 2 more packs. What can we pull? More Artifact Longinus. We have this thing, and this thing, and another Chaos Seed, and Benkei, and another common card. Alright, as Simply Unlucky likes to say, the final pack of Destiny. Will it be any better than the other packs? It's all bent up. I take that to mean that it's magical. It'll give me superpowers. The superpowers of Artifact Longinus. We've got another Yangzing card, and Rogue Arya, Rage, and our final Pendulum back. I feel like this card is going to be good at some point. I feel like this is not as bad a card as people are making it out to be. Right now, not the best pull, but you know what? I can't complain. This was an okay box. It wasn't spectacular. I will give you guys a quick recap before I go to my final channel announcements for the day. We have Pendulum back. We have Beyond. We have Bixie. We have Chiwan. Also, all the Yangzing stuff. We have a Deneb, Hypno Sister, Dante of the Burning Abyss, and Folkhalt's Cannon. So I hope you guys like this video and this opening. Stay tuned on this channel to see my recap review on Galaxy Photon, as well as seeing more Thunder Family shenanigans, also a Fire King deck profile, and discussions on things like Banisher of the Radiance and various other aspects of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! I am your host, the RJB0. I got a jet. See ya.